Hello everybody, welcome back. This is your friend Trickman01. What I've got for you guys today is this contraption right here that I created. Um, it's what I like to call a toggle, excuse me, a toggleable team selector. And the way this works is, let me retract that real quick, is you basically use these levers to control how many teams you want selected. So this all works based on comparators and signal strength. Using that to control the number of teams that are going to be selected. So you can see if none of the switches are powered, we'll have 7 teams. And then if one's powered, you'll have 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and so on. And you just want to basically select just the switch that you want powered. If you power any of the other ones, it will not work. It'll work probably correctly if you were to power, let's say, 5 and 4. But if you were to leave, if you wanted 4, I'm sorry, you'd get 4. But if you wanted 5, then the 4 power would end up hurting you. So you could actually make this to do up to 15 teams if you so desired, because that's the maximum redstone signal strength you can have. Anything more than that would get kind of complicated. So let's go ahead and look at this part of the wiring real quick. So what you see here is I have a dropper with 4 stacks of items in it, in this case 4 swords. So that outputs a signal strength of 7. And so if we come over here, we can see that the signal strength is 7. And we can just look at that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so it's going to power all of these pistons. So then we'll have all 7 teams being selected. But if we wanted to say 6 teams, we'd have to subtract a signal strength of 1. And the way we do that is we use subtraction mode for these comparators here. And then when we power any of these switches, it extends a piston here, which takes a signal strength of 1 from this one. Because this comparator is only outputting a signal strength of 1 because it's in subtraction mode, so it's getting a power of 15 from the back, and then 15, 14 from the side. So that's outputting a signal strength of 1 to this block, which is putting it back into this comparator. And so when we go to this comparator in subtraction mode, it's getting a signal strength of 7 from the back and a signal strength of 1 from the side, so it puts it in 6. So when we come over here, we can see that this last block, this last piston is no longer getting power, so it retracted. So now this comparator is no longer being able to power this command block. And that's just basically how it works with the teams. So if we go all the way down to 2 teams, you can see all of these are powered. So none of the pistons are being powered right now, and I could have pistons right here if I wanted, and they'd always be extended just because you don't want any less than 2 teams. It would be kind of silly. But you can see these are all no longer powered except for these last 2 are the only ones that are going to output to the command block. So basically each one of these comparators is subtracting a signal strength of 1 until it reaches here. So let's go ahead and turn all of these off. And you guys already kind of got a feel for that. So now if we look at the way this works, it's just attached to a basic hopper clock. There's an item here, and when we release, this should actually be on. When we release, if we have the appropriate number of players in this pen here, and we flip this switch, it will allow the item to be released from this hopper over here. And it'll flow through all of these hoppers, powering them one at a time, which puts a signal into each one of these blocks if it's down. And if the block is down, it'll transfer the redstone signal to the command block, teleporting a player from this pin into one of the team pins. So that's basically how the hopper clock works. Now, you can see I have a little bit more set up here. And then what this is this tells the the hopper clock not to make another selection if there aren't enough players left in the pen to make another set of teams. So the way that works is we have a signal strength of whatever the team number is coming in from the side versus a test for command where it's testing for the number of players in this black pen. So basically, if there's a higher number of teams and there is a number of players, it will not allow this comparator to output because the signal strength from the side is greater than the signal strength from the back. If it's less than or equal to the number of players that are left in the pen, it will allow it to output. So that allows it to finish the round it's on, but it will not start another one unless you have this manual override switch started, to show that you are willing to have uneven teams. And this test 4 block is constantly being updated by this rapid pulser. And then this block right here is just it's attached to this switch over here, so when you're ready to start you can just flip your switch and it will allow if you have the appropriate number of players, it'll allow the item of your choice to move through the hoppers to start the process. So without further ado, let me go ahead and show you the device in action. Where to start? Let's go ahead and start with we'll just hit the manual override switch. Since I'm in a single player world, we're never going to have less than a signal strength of, greater than 2 players in the pen. So I'll have to do the manual override just to show it in action. And since I don't have enough players, I actually programmed these to give me wool. So I'll get a different color of wool for each team. And then depending on how many teams we have selected over there, it depends on how many different colors of wool I get. So if I were to just flip this real quick, you can see I got 7 wool. And you can see that wasn't a fluke. So we got 7 wool again. So now let's go ahead and come over here and we'll select 5 teams. So now I have 5 teams selected, so we should only go up to the yellow. And indeed, it only gave me up to the yellow wool, so you can see we had 5 teams selected. And then we can do the same thing with 3 teams. Like so, so it should give me up to magenta in this particular hotbar situation. And then not give me any more wool on top of that. So it definitely works. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Turn the manual override switch off. And that's basically how it works now. Instead of giving wool, I mean, you could give wool if you wanted to, and it might still work, but instead of giving wool, the way you'd want, and by that, the wool comment was just if each player got a different color of wool, that could be how you want to determine teams. But the way you'd actually want these programmed is you'd want it to TP at R, and then you'd want to use these coordinates as specifiers with a radius of 4, because this is a 5 block ride. A 5 block wide pen. And so for this first one, you'd want to TP from there with the specifiers, and you'd want to teleport them to these coordinates. And the next command block, you'd still want to use the that pen, and then you'd want to teleport them to these coordinates, and so on and so forth, basically through all of the different pins. And then you could use the scoreboard system to create the teams in there, which I kind of go into in my UHC video, the how to create UHC in vanilla Minecraft video. And there are other videos out there detailing the scoreboard system. So you could use specifiers like something like scoreboard teams add, white, and then you could use scoreboard teams join all the players in this specified area to white, and then same thing with orange. magenta, and you don't have to use colors. You can name the teams whatever you wanted to. Light blue, yellow, green, and pink if you so desired. And then from there, there's a lot of options you can do with the scoreboard system. So that's basically my toggleable team selector. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or concerns about it, please let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys were able to pick up something useful from this video. I thank you guys for your time, and I hope everybody has a great day. Bye bye now.